All right, what's going on, everyone? It's CRL here. And so, Cardinals offseason is coming up soon. Free agency is about to start. I think we're like 3 days away. So, I'm trying to get more content out there. Let's talk a little bit about this what to expect in Cardinals free agency. Now, if you guys don't know, Cardinals have quite a bit of money to spend. I don't know the exact amount, but I know we have a decent amount of cap space that we can use to spend on some free agents. I think we have like what was it, somewhere in the 40s or something like that, and we haven't even made cuts yet. So basically, we're gonna have an amount of money to spend in free agency. So now the question is, what kind of free agents are we gonna get? Now, if you guys don't know who John Gambo is, he's basically a Cardinals, well, not just Cardinals, Arizona sports insider. If you guys want to, any Arizona sports fans that want to use a reliable source, make sure to look at Gambo first, because you guys should already know he's right about pretty much everything regarding Arizona teams. He was right about what the Suns were going to do at the trade deadline. He was right about what the Diamondbacks were going to do in free agency and so forth. So, um, basically what he said is he doesn't expect them to go after top tier expensive free agents like Christian Wilkins. Most likely mid tier free agents to provide depth and competition, keeping some of their own like Elijah Wilkinson, which I wouldn't mind keeping, by the way, Bobby Price, etc. So my first thought when I look at this tweet is this guy right here, who absolutely does not give a crap about his team whatsoever, Michael Bidwill. You inherited this team from your father in what, 2019, 2020, something like that, after his death. And all you care about is your private jet. You care about your private jet more than you care about this football team. And it's absolutely embarrassing. We've had back-to-back 4-win seasons, and this guy doesn't want to spend money on this team. Like, this team has been ran by the Bidwill family for God knows how long. And we have still not done anything. We've done nothing. And this guy right here is another living example of it. Now, I know people may say, oh, he's better than what his father was. That's not really saying much. His father didn't do anything either. I mean, well, the highest paid contract that we've given out was to Kyler Murray. Other than that, maybe a Fitzgerald bag when he was in his prime. At that time, before cap space, started rising and inflation and contracts went up before certain guys like Christian Kirk ruined the market, etc. So this guy is the reason why I don't get hyped up about this team in the offseason. Because Cardinal fans, we're going to have to build around the draft, because that's what it's come down to. I don't understand why. And listen, I'm not calling out every Cardinals fan, just, the Cardinal fans that don't really fully understand how ownership in football goes. This guy is not going to spend half of the cap space that we have. I'm sorry, it's just being realistic. We have a lot of cap space. I'm pretty sure we're in the top 5, if not borderline top 10 in cap space. This guy's not going to spend half of the cap space that we have. He's just not. He's never going to do it. He's never going to try to make this team better. And I'm sorry, we're not even going to come close to winning anything until this guy is out of here. Sell the team to Matt Ishbia, please. Like, I'm just so tired of having to sit back and watch this team suck year after year after year. And, honestly, Cardinal fans, I'm surprised you guys even thought for a second that we were going to go after these big name guys in free agency. Now, don't get me wrong. I want to get Christian Wilkins too. We do need a D-line. We need a D-line, and Christian Wilkins to start it off would be good. And there's a bunch of pass rushers. There's a bunch of guys that we can pair up, guys like B.J. Ojulari with, Cameron Thomas in the draft. There's so many guys that we can build our D-line with, but it's not going to be in free agency. It's just not. So when free agency starts on Wednesday, I'm just going to sit back and I'm just going to see what these other teams do, because this guy is not going to – he's not going to do anything for us. What has he done? So, Cardinal fans, hear me out here, and hopefully I'm right about this. We are going to have to build around the draft again, just like we did last season. Well, I mean, we sucked last year, but we had a good starting point to our rebuild in the draft. You get Paris Johnson, you get B.J. Ojulari. You get guys that you can start to develop throughout the draft instead of having to spend money because we have one of the worst owners, if not the worst owner in sports history. I don't care what anyone says about certain owners. I don't care what people say about Dan Snyder. I don't care what people say about freaking the Raiders owner. I don't care what anybody says about freaking the McCaskies in Chicago. I don't care what anybody says. This guy is the worst owner in the NFL. I don't care what people say about David Tepper. I don't care. This guy is the worst owner that the NFL has. He's the worst. The dude doesn't, he's a cheapskate, just like his father was. I'm sorry, but until this family is done running the team, we're not gonna spend big money on anybody. And hopefully I am wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong. But until then, I'm sorry, we're not gonna do anything in free agency. We're gonna get these mid-tier players for depth and etc. We won 4 games last season. We won 8 games in the last 2 years. Why are we trying to get mid-tier guys? Our starters aren't even capable. Especially on the defense. We need a secondary. We need a D-line. There was one point in the season where we didn't have a sack for like how many straight games? 4 or 5, maybe even more than that. We need a pass rush. And on offense, we need some pieces on the O-line. We need a receiver, which we can do in the draft. There's so many good receivers out there in the draft. So, and the wide receiver market isn't that good. So maybe we could build our receiving core in the draft. And I'm sorry, Hollywood Brown, he's not worth an extension, guys. Now, granted, we're probably going to give him a bag and we're probably going to keep him because him and Kyler Murray, they're friends, this and that. They're best friends, this and that. But he's not a number 1 receiver. And I know Cardinal fans, their first priority in the draft, Marvin Harrison Jr., which I may do a video on Marvin Harrison pretty soon. But it's not just Marvin Harrison Jr. You get Malik Neighbors, Roma Dunze, Keon Coleman. There's a bunch of other guys in the draft that you can get. But I'm sorry, when it comes to free agency, this guy is not going to do anything for us. He's not going to let. And you know what? We have a really good general manager too. Monty Austinfort is a really good general manager. But I'm sorry, this guy, he's not going to allow Monty to spend half of the cap space that we have. That's just how it is. But anyway, that's my thoughts on what to expect from the Cardinals in free agency. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And I'm